Okay, I don't know how strict you are on time, but it is time, so we can start, I guess. Welcome to my talk about state-of-the-art agentic coding with OpenCode, Greek gods, and custom workflows. My name is Tjalve. I'm a senior consultant at Webstep, which is work in the same building. I'm typically hired out to customers as a team lead or a product lead or just full stack developer, AI consultant. I'm also an AI enthusiast, so we're gonna look into that a little bit more. So I want to talk some about OpenCode. It's a general harness for agentic coding. It's nothing new. We have many tools for agentic coding now, but it's I like it because it's a nice interface. They were early. They have a very well-defined skills and tools, etc. And it is agnostic to the models and the providers. So Claude Code, for example, that's basically meant for anthropic models, right? And OpenAI and Codex is basically meant for OpenAI models. In OpenCode, you are more free to mix and match providers and models, which you can utilize. So as an interface, it's available just from the terminal as a terminal commands. It has a CLI interface, which we primarily will use today. You can also use it from the web. There is a extension, so you can install it in your IDE, or it has a desktop application as well. So it's sort of you can use it then everywhere, basically. It has the standard support that you expect for skills, rules, agents, custom tools, plugins, hooks, etc. So basically, and it typically understand if you have Claude skills, it will typically use them, etc. It has good inbuilt support for language servers, which is great to help the agents validate the code it writes. And of course, support for MCP servers, etc. And as I said, it's agnostic to model providers. And you can also add your own custom rules, custom tools, custom hooks and plugins, etc. And I have some demos I'm gonna try. It's always fun to demo AI live. So I just created a standard simple test. It's a task to create a chest opening study tool. So I just have a predefined text setup and a product setup. And I have a sort of a standardized prompt that I give the same prompt mostly to all of them. So this is sort of today this is a simple one-shot case. When I created a demo case 1.5 years ago, it was not a simple one-shot task, right? So it was like a sort of challenging, and you could see when it was good or not. So today, this is actually not a very good demo case because you don't see a large difference between the setups. So the result may not be the point today, but we're gonna just explore different ways to set up and use OpenCode and some plugins. So but just it's basically the same. So now we have a lot of the boring slides, so just jump into demo mode, which is more fun. So I have just my small little repo with the setup. We can start OpenCode in it. We don't see anything. Oh, that's so fun. Oh, then my whole setup is broken. Didn't we switch monitor today? No, because the screen rendering is broken. Okay, just give me a few seconds. I have to remove all my desktops and put everything on the same desktop. You do see this, but you don't see any of the desktops, right? That's fun. How do you even delete desktops in? I'm so sorry. This was very typical demo goes. So I think I need to stop this slide. So now we have a desktop. And now we see. Okay, so basically I will just present it like this, I guess, else it will be horrible for me, or I can exit back and forth. So we started OpenCode. I used the white theme because it's often better in projectors, but you can, of course, change the theme as you want it. So you have some built-in tools or modes. This is not synced as well. So technical, I need help from technical here, if you can. I need some technical assistance. Because this is stuck. Think it's good. Okay. So we have some plan mode and a build mode, basically, the standard included. We have some commands you can use and create custom commands. You can select which model you want to use, and you have a huge selection, of course. And you have both OpenAI providers. You have, if you have Claude models, of course, we have Claude Fable 5. I don't have the credits for that, I think. New today. We can see if I have credits left after the session. So this is based on which providers I have connected. So you can connect to a huge list of providers. So basically, if you have a subscription or anywhere, you can connect it here and use those here. You can specifically not use your Anthropic subscription because they ban you if you do that. So Anthropic are sort of the evil in this picture, but most other providers allow you to use the subscription in this tool. And the reason Anthropic banned it was partly because of one of the plugins I'm going to show later in the demo. So I have a quick prompt here. Make it so. It's just my custom command. I'm just going to start this. It will, so this is basically the prompt. So as a normal tool, it will start with the prompt, start check what the tools it have. We have a nice pane to the right. It gives some information. It can give some to-do list here, if it creates a to-do list, etc. I see it actually now use my global installed UI tools as well. So UI.sa is then sort of a MCP server provided by the creator of Tailwind. Maybe it will interfere a little with the code create. Yes, and we also use my globally installed supply chain guard. So that's just my own skill for not getting attacked by all the supply chain attacks that we have had lately. So just spend some extra time verifying the packages before it installs them, etc. But then it created a to-do list and can sort of start tracking its work and tries to create a solution. So we can go to the setup. So this was the command. So we see here under .opencode, I can create commands, for example, and here I have just whatever you write here will become a slash command with a description. So basically, this is useful if you have prompted to reuse all the time. Then it's an easy way to just get that used simple. Nothing much specific here. We have a simple product brief. It just says it's going to create this and this chess application. some features, make it demo on a projector, etc. And I just define a very simple text setup, just so that is consistent between all the tests, etc. And I have a basic instruction. So it will, so as you are probably used to, it takes the standard agents at MD. Unless you're using Claude Code, then it takes the Claude MD. It will read both. You can, of course, you can also override this if you want. So in the OpenCode JSON, you can include a specific list of documents that is your instructions. And now they are actually concatenated into the sort of the agents that the instructions that agents get. You can also just write use this in this file, but then it will have to go and read it. So this can, let's see if I have something interesting to show. No, so you start building. So of course this will take some time. Not that interesting to just look at, but it can work in the background, and we can come back to it and look a little later. You can, yeah, in this version we don't have any sub-agents, so this is pretty plain, but it works fine. It's a good tool. It has very well-defined skills and tools, so it doesn't make any errors. I never see that it fails because it wrote wrong JSON when it tried to tool call, etc. So it's robust in my experience then. So yeah, it's a good basis. I'm gonna take my chance here and try to start this. Hopefully it was just a bad cable. So the sort of the next phase in OpenCode is to customize the agents. I think that's the most important. And OpenCode was the tool that helped me really start playing with agents and understand how to use it. It's just a very easy way to configure a custom agent and to define what they are allowed to do, etc. So you can have some primary agents or you can have sub-agents. So when we saw I had plan and build available, those were my primary agents. And then they actually can call some predefined sub-agents, General Explorer Scout, which is just some tools that OpenCode has created to help explore the library, etc. So these primary models will use these if they want. And an agent is simply just a markdown file in a correct folder with some YAML front matter to define a name and a description. And then you have a way to define permissions, which commands should it be allowed or not be allowed to run, or which task is it allowed to use. And then it's just the instructions. And there's no specific format for the instructions. You can basically put anything you want there. I have my way to do some of it if it feels helpful and I want to orchestrate them together. So we're going to go straight to my second demo. And it doesn't work. And there's no. And we exit that, and we are back. Good. So it's basically the same setup. I open the folder in OpenCode, and it has the same demo setup, etc. But you see, I have a new command available here. This is a primary agent, a chess developer. So now I have created a specific agent that is an expert in creating chess games. And I still have the other primary agents available. This is basically just a different set of system instructions that agents get when it starts working, right? It's the same model. It doesn't change the model, or you can define which model you want to use. We also have a pure agent that you can start looking at. So if you look at the pure agent, or let's just look at an agent in general. So here I have in .opencode, in this folder, I have my agents. As custom for these kind of tools, so now I have all these in the project. You can also have this globally under your user. So if you have .opencode folder on your user, then you will have these agents and commands, etc. for all your repositories. So I have defined some agents here. So I have the primary agents. So this is basically a mode primary that makes it available on the tab, so I can choose it. And then if I call it a sub-agent, it won't be able there, but this can call it. And I say which model I want to use. I can say something about the sort of the capacity, thinking capacity, etc. So different providers or models have some different ways to define this. And then I have a list of permissions. So by default, all tools are allowed. So it will have access to all tools unless I have scoped it down. And also for task, I start by saying deny you all tasks. So task will be when I try to call a sub-agent, for example. So basically now I have denied all the default sub-agents in OpenCode, and then I only allow my own sub-agents. So it can only call my agents, and I don't have access to the default agents. And then below this YAML front metal is just the instruction set, where you can write what you want. So I have just defined, and the first demo has now created a game and start demoing it, or testing it through Playwright, exactly. I forgot about that. So yeah, that might be a little disturbing, but it managed to create a chess demo game. So this is kind of what it will create. It demos or teaches you how to use the Italian game opener. And then maybe we can move if this works. Yeah. So basically it managed to write code or meet the center directly. Okay, yeah, but it is still testing, so I think I have to stop it because it will probably just pop up the screen every time it tests something new. While it would be fun to see how far it could get. So let me exit out of that one. And I think we were still here. It works, that's so amazing. Right. And then the order of these permissions are very important because it applies them from the top down. So whatever you write last will take precedence. So if I want to deny something, I have to put it on the top and then override it. It depends how you want to do it. But if you write something later, it can override what you wrote earlier, basically. So basically, I start by denying everything, and then I open up what I want. The poor agent has denied everything, and it must ask for permission for everything. So the most I can have is I can deny task, I can allow, or I can make it ask. So if I try to use this agent, solve everything. It can think, so it can start by thinking, that's allowed, but it can't really do anything. It will have to ask me permissions, and then for each, so now it wants to write a to-do list, I have to allow it. And for this case, it has to ask for anything. But I like this way of doing it because it's so easy to just try at least to control your agent. So it's very easy to get started with agent. You can just, if you have any custom tools, if maybe you had it as a skill, now you can have it as a custom agent that just knows how to do that very well. So it's a very nice way to give define ways for coding to happen. Yeah, it's not that interesting. The rich agent just have more access. It's not that interesting to play with. It's just a much more advanced way to set it up. So instead of just say read allow, I can define whatever you want or grep tasks under that or regex expressions for what should be allowed or not. So you can go into a fair amount of details if you want. Maybe you don't want it to grep for secrets or password, for example. So it's a powerful tool. Of course, as I have tried to do more advanced stuff, it's also easier to trap yourself and deny something that should have and override something you shouldn't have, etc. So you have to use it with care. But at least some basic provisions are very useful to set up and use. The demo itself, if you start the chess developer and still just tell it to make it so. Oh, this is very poor work. It will be conflicted by the context it has, where it saw it was a poor agent, etc. So it's much better to start a new session first, so it doesn't confuse itself. I also, earlier in my last attempt, I called this make it so command, I called it a demo command. And just that small word in the command made it go into some demo mode, and it made some fake stuff because it was a demo, etc. So don't give it any tips or tools to cheat or do something else than what you want. Yeah, so it will start up as before, create a to-do list. But now it will want to get some feedback from other developers, typically. It wants to ask some agents and experts. So it calls a sub-agent. So I created a task. And so I can navigate to these sub-agents. And you can see this one uses a different model. So, for example, I can say, I think Gemini 3 Pro is nice at UX. So I want to use that agent for that. For the librarian, it just goes explore the code base. It will use a lot of tokens. I want a cheap model. This is fast, so it doesn't cost too much. So this is the benefits from OpenCode and being model agnostic, and be able to define these agents that I can more effectively choose the model for the task and conserve tokens when I want it, use cheaper models when I want it, etc. So I think that's really a nice way of doing it. And maybe we can have a quick look. Yeah, so it gave some output, not structured. And often important to deny these sub-agents the to-do write tool, or to deny them access to coding tools, because they will often want to just start solving the questions, right? But I want them to just give feedback to my primary agent. Now it will spend some extra time again to review the package because I have this global supply chain guard skill installed. So we can see if it pops up something in the end while we continue. So what was the pattern? I can start this and then just have to exit it again before I hold the demo, right? Let's do that. Third time the charm. So this is fine, but it was just some random agents, a chess developer. Yeah, might be useful, but what I actually want is just to have these agents work over time, do the correct thing. I want to go to sleep, actually, and just want the agents to solve my task for me. I want them to follow my standard coding flow. There should be, I want them to pick the right issue. I want them to create the correct branch. I want them to do a QA. I want them to actually do a manual UI audit. If it's a UX task, I want them to do a pull request, review, etc. Merge, deploy, and I want them to continue on the next issue. So, and for this flow, I use GitHub. Instead of having some tasks defined locally, I have a GitHub repository, so I just have GitHub tasks, and it can use my GitHub skills to view the task and start the task, etc. And that's what it is. Then we go straight to the demo again. And we do this, and it works. That's great. This will probably pop up after a while, but we're gonna start here still. So it's still the same setup. The difference here, I have changed the agents, basically. So now I have a cycle agent, is what I call it. It's my workflow cycle, or build cycle, or development cycle. So I guess we should look at the code. I still have a chess librarian. It is a sub-agent. But I have my cycle. That's my primary agent. So this will be the primary orchestrator that can orchestrate my other agents to do what I want and run the cycle. And this one is not allowed to use still. I want to define that it only use my agents. And I have told it about my different agents. So it have this kind of agents available. Use this agent for that, use that agent for this. And I also have defined a handoff. So each sub-agent, when it has defined, it has to give sort of a token back if it succeeded, if it is blocked, etc. So then this cycle or primary agent knows to read these expected handbacks. It just is a more controlled way to have a success or failure and to understand the state. It's sort of a small state machine. Yeah, I have an issue picker. Just use a cheap model. It's not a hard task, etc. Implementer, I wanted to use my full GPT-5 model, etc. Commands is the same. It has, okay, yeah, so here are my skills again. Not globally this time. And it should basically be the same. There is some more setup, some more knowledge in agents instructions also just for care. It has this knowledge about my agents. But we also have included a set of custom scripts that I tell it to use. So it, in a standardized way, find open issues, find the next priority issue, start and complete an issue in a sort of a distinct way. So I have a repo, I think, for that. This is my supply chain guide, but this is the repo. So it has just, let me double check. Yes, so it has just 3 simple tasks, basically the same that we had earlier in the prompt, just defined in 3 small tasks. I have a set of custom labels. Is this readable, maybe or not? It doesn't matter, it's just something I've defined, but it helps, for example, define the priority order back. And I use some blocked status and just some custom code here for this is blocked for that, and then the scripts can resolve when it's blocked, when the issue is completed, this is unblocked, etc. Just to make sure it only works on one issue at a time and doesn't start another task before the last was complete, etc. Right? So I can still save, make it so. And it's basically the same, but now it has some information about this live GitHub. Oh, someone has my agent that helped me have stuck in demo. That's very unfortunate, but hopefully it doesn't destroy the demo. So now it will start the issue picker task and run that. And in the same way for all tasks, get the highest priority task back that is not blocked and is ready for work. And we can look at it. So yeah, it's choose a priority order script, got the task back and what was the highest priority task. And then it start the issue, so it is moved to in progress, so it can't be started by another agent, for example. And it views the issue. It's just a script that, in a conform way, gives the information back as JSON and handles the correct comment, etc. if there's comment on the task. And then it's give a handback. Now it is picked, and then a set of information that it provides back to the primary agent. So then the primary agent gets this back. You start a chess librarian tool. It does the same. It received the context that this was picked and all the information about the issue that was picked. And does it done work? Didn't do much, but it's fine. It's these agents are very simple to be quick in this demo. And then gave it guidance back in same sort of similar format, just some state back to the primary agent. Yes, it calls a UX expert to get some UX guidance. Probably use my 3.1 Pro again. For maybe a year ago, 3.1 Pro was like, D was the best agent for UX, use this agent for UX. So I just stuck with it here. Now, a lot of models are very great at UX, so you can probably just pick the one you like the most, I guess. So this works quite well for me. Now it can continue the cycle. It will solve the issue. It will run pull request, review, and it will actually ship it and complete the issue and pick the next issue, etc. So this is getting closed. This is not as quick. This is probably the last demo that popped up chess game. And again, it will probably change things. We can see if we can complete something. Does anyone know the Italian opening? You're supposed to go here. You will get very good help. Almost, okay, I don't know if this is the same. It looks very different. So I would actually assume this is the current agent demoing. I'm sorry for making this messy demo, but it's a little fun. It's not that important, the result. It's just what I want to show is the process and how you sort of use these tools and configure with them. Let's see if it was the implementer that did this. I don't see that this started any review yet, so I think this was still the first agent that did it. But yeah, so this was sort of where I was for a while. I used this consistently, but my problem with it was that it did stop sometimes. It didn't continue. For some reason, just, okay, I did this issue, now I'm done. So it was hard to make it consistently work over time. And also on more complex setup, it was a little hard to manage the permissions correctly. A sub-agent would start implementing instead of just reporting back, or it would read something it shouldn't do, etc. So it's doable. I think it's very fun. It's very useful for a lot of cases, but to solve my main goal of having an independent solver that just solves all my problems overnight, it was still a little hard. I don't think I want, at least, I don't want two of them running at the same time, so I'm going to stop that one. And I'm going to go back to the slides. So that's where oh-mo come in, oh-my-openagent, or it used to be called oh-my-opencode, the best agent harness, but it's an extension to OpenCode. And now I think they have created a version, or are creating a version for Codex, maybe for, I don't know, someone created something similar for Cloud Code. What I have here is for OpenCode. So it became very popular very quickly. And it's basically a set of curated custom agents. So instead of me creating all this, it's just a much larger set, or not larger set, but more complex defined agents. A lot of custom skills, custom tools, hooks to ensure continuation, sort of try to solve all these issues ahead, right? It's much better compaction, so it doesn't lose context and stop. If you know about compaction, or you understand what it is, basically each model will have a limited set of tokens it could use, and it will build up the context until it's stuck. So if you don't do anything, then it just gets stuck. So it can't send any more API requests to the provider because the context it tries to send is too large, right? So all these tools have sort of a compaction built in that compresses the context into something linear and then can move on from that. But if it doesn't do it correctly, then it often loses, for example, my continuation prompt that I wanted it to keep working. It was lost, it just stopped working, etc. Or it lost the to-do list that I have tried to make it use, etc. So this has a little better compaction, and it can run better parallel works, wait in the background for background tasks, and wait to get the answer, continue, etc. So smarter than what I did, basically. And if you don't want to learn anything about it, just want to use it, they have a keyword, ultrawork or ulv, ulv, that's what they say. So just install it and say ulv and then whatever your task, and it will just utilize all that it brings and all the custom tools and all the search, etc., as most as possible, and spend all your tokens. So this is not a token conservation tool. It doesn't care for tokens at all. They are meant to burn. And this was, I guess, the problem when people started using this in OpenCode with their Anthropic models. Anthropic have a very high discount on the subscription, right? So you just get much more use of the subscription than if you had to pay for it over API. And they can control that inside the Claude code. And then they just felt that people were abusing their subscription discount when we used it like this. So then there was a fallout between OpenCode and Anthropic, etc. And then no, we had to manage without it. You can still use Claude models, for example, through GitHub Copilot or other providers that provide the Claude models, right? But you can't use the Claude subscription. It has some primary agents. Sisyphus, one of the, not a Greek god really, but sort of the main agent. It was created specifically to work very well with the Claude models. It just uses all the tools it has available. It has some state tracking system to continue a task over time, etc. There is more of a first plan, then do set of tools, a Prometheus agent and an Atlas agent. So you would start in the Prometheus, it will ask you questions, create sort of a plan, and then you sort of start it in the Atlas, which will follow the plan. So if you want more planning and control, then this could be a nice set for you. And then Hephaestus, it was created after the fallout with Anthropic. Then everyone needed to start using OpenAI models. And then this was basically a similar tool to Sisyphus, but more tuned toward OpenAI models. So it's very similar. It's just the one agent, primary agent, that does all your work for you. And there is a new T mode now, where you can run more multiple sort of primary agents in parallel. I didn't dare to test it because I didn't want to screw up my installation, but it sounds fun. So let's go back to the demos. It works, great. Let's look at the other one. It has picked another task as far as I can see. It has shipped the tasks, completed the issue, etc. and shipped it. And then we picked a new task. So it still works pretty well, the manual sort of way of doing it. So with OpenAgent or oh-my-opencode installed, I don't get the default agents anymore. It is replaced by these custom agents that OMO plugin has defined. And for each of them in the config, if you want, you can say which model should it use. I think when you install it now, it will default to some free model, just not to burn all your tokens or credits. Then you can customize yourself which models you want to use. And you can of course, always override which models you're using this time here. So maybe you should use Spark, for example, to get something done quicker. And we're going to start work. I think we're going to stop this. It could be fun to look at more results, but I don't want it to mess up my tasks. So, actually, this wasn't the best way to do it. I have to kill it. I should have used Ulv to make it use all the available tools. Models, Spark from the selected provider, and make it so Ulv. And it will create a larger prompt in with sort of primate use all the deep search, code red, the maximum precision required. So it's sort of similar. We saw this early on, all this extra extensive prompting, but it still has some effect, at least I feel it. So much more instructions to how to use the tools for the agents. And then at the very bottom, it actually got my custom instructions as part of the tasks, the user instructions, right? Or my user requests, etc. Yeah. No. Yes, we're back. Yeah, so it will do some of the same kind of tasks, but now it uses its own tool calls. It's more extensive sort of research, a librarian that sort of does more exploring, etc. Of course, this is a very small code base, so it doesn't have that much to do, but it can take quite some time and spend all the time it really needs to explore everything it needs. Yeah. So this works even better, I think. Of course, so this as long as it doesn't compact away the to-do list and it understands what it's supposed to do. So some of these come from my custom instructions. No, it doesn't. Not that much. Yeah. So I would advise you to explore it. So here I started all the language servers to test what it did, etc. It's a great tool, and I recommend it to test it. It has solved a lot of problems for me. The problem still is the continuation, make it work over time, which is what I really want. Since, as I said, I've often rented out as a team lead or a product owner, etc. So I don't actually get to code that much on my own spare time or not at work. So I have to code when I sleep. I need agents to code for me, right? That's the goal. I want to just correctly code over time when I sleep. That's the end goal here. And the future, of course. Yeah, so I think I'll just continue with the demo since time is running. So this is what I really want is I want OMO. I want all the powerful agents. I don't want to have to customize the agents myself, but I want sort of my developer cycle working, right? I just want to provide an ID, bootstrap some ID. I want to execute the implementation. Is it still sound fine? Yeah. Okay. I want it to have some sort of quality gate, so it doesn't write wrong things, doesn't write 10,000 lines code files that it's possible to work with, etc. I want some sort of judge or umpire that makes the continuation work, whip it into sort of continue, don't stop working, continue working. So for Bootstrap, I just want a more structured way to create larger documentation files. I have a format that I am very happy with. I have a spec.md. It's a quite extensive, dry functional requirement file with sort of named, identified requirements. What you would be seeing in a standard coding project, right? And then from that, it will define some scope, non-scope, and all the features I want, etc. And then from that, I create a set of milestones. And from those milestones, I create a set of defined GitHub issues. So then this can actually solve, then I have a structure that can handle large, complex tasks, not just small demo tasks. And the idea here is, the goal is to make it ask me questions, right? And the OpenCode has a nice question tool, so that you can ask me questions and there's an interface for it, similar to what we saw with the permissions ask, etc. I wanted to ensure quality. It doesn't have to follow some specific coding standard. I just wanted to follow any coding standard consistently, right? As long as it writes it, I just wanted to. It shouldn't create too large files and complex tasks. Just got it somehow. So end-to-end test, linting, formatting, type checking, unit testing, file size, complexity, maintainability. Just do something sensible in these areas. Check security, check code coverage if you want. Some consistency in the code file it creates. And execute it consistently, follow my GitHub workflow, use my dev cycle, pick a task, implement it, follow the test queue, PR flow, etc. And since I work in GitHub, I can use the GitHub coding agents. Another demo, that's great. I think I need to kill it because I'm in the middle of my presentation. Let's see if it can leave it there. You didn't see it, maybe? Pops up just on my screen. Great. Yes, and if there's a UI task, I want to do manual drive the UI task, actually drive the UI, take some proof, show that it completed the work. And this judge that can sort of make sure the continuation continues. It doesn't get lost even though the maybe the to-do task was destroyed by the compaction, but it still can continue. And a whip that makes it do something sensible if there's no GitHub issue, etc. So this is more aligned with this cycle that everyone talks about lately. This is the creator of Claw code Claw, OpenClaw, this is what it's called now. Design loops that prompt your agent, don't prompt your agents, right? So that's what I'm trying to do, I guess. And so this is a example of this kind of bootstrap questions. I have asked it to create or make this ID spec for me, and then it starts asking me questions to get define what it doesn't know or doesn't feel it should answer itself, right? And this is what it could look like. This is just it doesn't show a timestamp, but this is just a nightly feedback from the agents in GitHub that the agents will read, wait for a reply, solve the issues, continue on the next issue, etc. So it's a nice way to wake up in the morning to just see what has been doing during the night. So this is where I have to say that I was told about this talk yesterday. So since I prepared this, which was for something else, I have sort of moved a little. I'm a little in between ways of working here. So I have some demo here with sort of all the GitHub scripts and try to use skills and prompt it to follow my bootstrap process, etc. And then I'm sort of in the middle of creating a more defined NPM package of all this and package better. So I'm a little unsure about the next demo, that's what I'm saying. But we'll see what happens. At least you can look at the code. Did it stop? I should stop it. This is probably what I have used the most. Nothing new here, actually. It's just the same instructions and agents. So the difference is in the implementation or the code base. This was different than I expected. I'm sorry for that. Interesting. Yeah, so it has a larger set of scripts to sort of set up the labels correctly, find the dependencies, start the code, etc. So it's very custom work, but it sort of still works, right? It has an extensive agent instructions that talk a lot about how I want it to work, how to do a bootstrap, where the documentation is, what the milestone is, etc. A flow. So it's sort of just manually talks about everything that I wanted to do. And I have very, very specific, strict to-do list. It can create whatever you want, but it needs to create some specific issue. It should always start by reading the issue. It should always include a manual audit. It should always have a Cubic review. So Cubic, it's the Cubic dev is a review agent you can connect to your GitHub repository. This is what I used here. Make sure we are on the correct branch before you check in. If there is a PR, wait until you have got the reply. You can typically have to wait 10 minutes. It doesn't matter if I'm sleeping, right? Ship it. It's important. They are very lenient in shipping. They want to be correct. They don't want to ship it. I should ship it. Agents don't want to ship it. And you have to fight sometimes with OpenCode. Like OpenCode has some the master Git skills that says don't ship it, basically. So you sort of need to try to override it if you want to automate it like this, right? If you just want to be interactive, then it's fine. But you have sometimes you need to work against the system to make it actually just ship, deploy, merge, continue. And very important, always bootstrap the next issue before you close the last to-do task, because OpenCode has a continuation prompt. As long as there is any open task, it will always add a continuation prompt with a hook. So as long as there's always one open issue that isn't closed, it will always continue. So this is my sort of, this can work for days, at least for a night it will work until it gets destroyed by some continuation. So just always have some open task basically, so it is continued. And yeah, my branching rules, etc. So this works quite well. That even worked. Or incorrect branch. Make it so. Of course, you see you have other, like Ralph loop, that's a better known loop that was popular. I don't know who made it. It's just a don't stop until you've done loop kind of system, right? Command. This has been popular. But I have my own system for that. I didn't ulv it because ulv can lead it astray sometimes. I want a little more controlled environment. Yeah, so basically I have created a lot of script. I have defined my labels. I have said how it should execute. I have a way for it to sort of continue working. So then I figured this is annoying to copy back and forth between all my repos. Make sure the correct part of my agent instructions is sort of injected in my new agent instructions for my next task, etc. So what I'm working on now is trying to extract all this as npm packages. I don't think we will see anything especially new here. Just that over time it would do something more correctly. It's hard to show in the demo. The demo looks very similar to the last one on a short time, right? So I actually had this cube system, right? I had a quality gate. I had this my umpire. I had a bootstrap system. I had an executor. So that randomly made a cube. Now, of course, I choose the packages based on the name. So I said creating a set of npm packages. They are not ready for public consumption yet. All of them except the bootstrap is actually there. You can play with them. You can show it, and then I'm going to wrap them into cube. So cube will be so these are packages that is meant to be used by an agent. So it's an intermediary between you and the agent. So the agent use it and understand how to prompt me and register the answers and do something back, etc. So it's just a tool for the agents to get control and work the way I want it to work, basically. So the demo isn't that great, but I have the packages. So we have the executor. It works quite well. So executor is probably the one that works best. Thank you so much. Yeah. So I just have AIE, my tool. It has quite extensive support for doing audit or helping the agent doing audit, branch check, check dependencies, initialize. If it doesn't have it, it will initialize some instructions into the agents, etc. And make sure the labels for the repository are correctly set up so I can use my workflow as I want. It has a PR gate to check if there's feedback yet from the review agents, etc. Doesn't look that nice on this small screen, but it's just let's see what's fun. Yeah, so there's, for example, a doctor tool that's nice for the agent to use that checks everything if the state of this repository, if it's ready for my full setup and workflow, etc. We have Git, we have GHA is authenticated, we don't use work trees, we haven't set any specific config yet, where I can configure my custom review agents if I want to, etc. AIB is not really ready. we can test it out a little. AIQ is ready. That's my nice quality gates. It's probably the first tool I created. This was sort of more important earlier because the agents created files that were larger than it managed to handle, right? It's as soon as it created then 2,000 lines of code, it stopped working properly. And it failed to edit because it was too large. Now I see GPT-5 creating 10,000 lines of code and still working fine because they have so precise grep tools and awk tools and SED and whatever, right? But still, I still don't want it to happen. Maybe then my cheaper agent librarian doesn't work, etc., right? So this basically detect the language in the code. If it's Go, Python, TypeScript, Node, CSS, whatever, then just run these kind of E2E checks, linting, formatting, type, unit test, etc. for the code base, and give some status back and tells the agent what to do if something fails and how to see what fails. So in this case, I guess we'll see verbose. Some shell format checker that complains about my indentation, the shell files, etc. Yeah. So it's nothing important. It's just not consistent, right? It's just a way to keep it consistent and not get noisy commits, etc. Let's try and see if anything works. If I ask it to try to bootstrap this project, so I'm limited to AIB. Where are we on time? 4. So let's look at this and see if you have any questions. I guess it's a good time. Let's see if this pops up. But if you have any questions, feel free. Yes?
Have you ever run this with any local models?
I did it earlier. It used to be much harder. It should be fine now. The problem, of course, is that I want to run many models, not just one. And then you need more memory because you need more models loaded at the same time. So that's why you want the most powerful Mac you can get your hands on, right? Or the most memory you can get your hands on. So one of the earlier coding tools you could use was RuCode. And there were someone that fine-tuned models for RuCode. So they used to work pretty well. So for example, in Olama, you can search for RuCode, I think, or Klein, and we'll get some fine-tuned models that are good enough at tool calling and function calling to not make mistakes. The largest differentiator in these kind of harnesses is that you just need very precise tool calling all the time. So that's where smaller models have a trouble, right? But I think with the latest setters of local models, this should be fine. Yeah, so here we see this is the kind of thing. Now it starts asking me questions to build up the spec. Then it will verify all the requirements in the spec. Then it can start a questionnaire to build up the milestones, etc. It takes some time, so we can't complete it, but absolute beginner, yeah. So you see the UI here is pretty nice, inbuilt in OpenCode. Yeah, whatever. Any more questions? Yes?
How important if you're running overnight is the initial prompt? Do you ever like wake up and find it has built something completely different than what you?
Not that often.
Repeat the question.
So the question is, how important is the initial prompt? You wake up in the morning and then you spent all night going completely sideways, right? When I let it go overnight, and I have actually created this spec, I have the milestones. So it has actually a quite extensive set of documentations that you can reference and then use it inside the GitHub issues. Let's see if I can show that. Somewhere, no. No, that didn't, of course, not help. So what that typically will look like is something like Right. Are we seeing it? Yes. Docs. So to have a quite large spec file with functional requirements. So this is sort of a detailed specification with all your requirements in it, right? And from that, we have created a large set of milestones. And each of them can be quite extensive as well and display pseudocode and the functionality, etc. And then each of these are broken down into GitHub issues. So it's not small instructions, it's quite detailed instructions before it can actually work properly overnight, right? And this is what I want the bootstrap command to sort of help you build up this kind of files for you. I guess we're out of time, so I should just say thank you so much for listening to this talk. And sorry for the demo issues at the beginning.